Evening all, Daniel Hand, RPG therapist, and today we are going to dive geekily into the epic, expansive, incomprehensible infinity-ness of the multiverse. More specifically, the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. Now, this is a very new game, released only the summer of this year at time of recording. Although in reality it's the latest in quite a long, certainly long-standing line of RPGs based upon the characters and events as depicted in various Marvel comics, stretching all the way back to the early 1980s. We've had 1984's Marvel Superheroes, which was expanded in 86, I think, to Marvel Superheroes Advanced. Then we had 1998's Marvel Superheroes Adventure game, 2003's Marvel Universe role-playing game, 2012's Marvel Heroic role-playing game, and now the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game takes on the mantle of official Marvel tie-in RPG. But does it deserve that mantle and genuinely give its players some cool superhero action? Or is it just a corporate cash grab that fails to deliver? And most importantly, is it appropriate for using with your clients? Let's take a look. And so here we have it, the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game, core rulebook by Matt Forbeck. 320 pages, and as you can see, vibrant, action-packed, colourful, over the top, just like any superhero product needs to be. Kind of missed a trick on the end pages. People these days are starting to make use of them, if only for art purposes, but also for putting things like charts and tables and stats. So, you know, for future reference, Marvel. The art throughout is obviously very comic booky. I especially love this one. It says everything. Usual quick section about how to play and safety options there. Session 0, safety tools, you know, kind of thing you've come to expect in RPGs these days. And then the core mechanics. So everything in the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game, try saying that 10 times fast, seriously. I'm going to be tripping over my words in a few minutes from saying that so often. Revolves around rolling 3d6, one of which is called the Marvel die. You roll them together and you add the results. So here, you know, you roll 3, 5, 4. That is, well, 12. Did you hear that? I stumbled. It's like, no, that can't be that easy. Yeah, it is. It's 12. It's been a long day. Just a standard, very simple system to remember. Oftentimes you'll add a stat to it, or special rules according to powers. We'll get to those in a moment. But once you've added everything together, got your ultimate number, is it high enough? Good. In that case, you did what you wanted to do. The only slight variation is that one of the dice, the Marvel die, has a Marvel symbol instead of a 1, which means that if you roll 6, 1, 6, that is kind of the ultimate roll you can have. And the Marvel symbol basically means that it's a fantastic success, as they call it in the game, and that essentially means that things become... It's like rolling a natural 20. You know, things just happen well. It's got lots of examples throughout, which is all very helpful. Edges and troubles. So edges are essentially giving the player advantage. So if you roll a 1, in this case, you can re-roll that number, and a difficulty, or a trouble should I say, is like disadvantage. You've got to re-roll the highest die and keep the lower of the two. A little section here about doing the math. If I have any criticism of this game, it's the core mechanic, though it's very simple, 3d6 add together, it can actually get quite crunchy because it involves things like multiplication, as we'll come to in a little while. But no biggie. But if you're working with young clients or clients who struggle with maths, it can be a little difficult at times. Character profile, how to create a character, got your ability scores. Most RPGers will be familiar with your standard Dungeons and Dragons stats, strength, charisma, etc. Here, Marvel does essentially the same things, but renames them slightly. You've got melee, agility, resilience, vigilance, ego, and logic. Now, what's special about that, you ask? Well, you've got MARVEL. That right there sums up the campiness of this entire system. If you find that funny, you'll love this game. I find it hilarious and totally nerdy. It's just great. Yeah, you've got things here like health and focus. Focus represents their capacity for concentration and willpower. Karma represents that wild mix of luck, grit, and destiny. And these are all just little edges that you can, well, not edges because that's a specific rule, but these are just little things to give the character an added bonus when they're getting on with it. Morals, creating character. And this is what a filled-in character sheet looks like. A lot of us say if you want to get a good idea for how a game is going to play, look at the character sheet. Well, this gives you a pretty good idea. So you've got your stats there, and they all produce different numbers. Like you've got your defense score there, you've got your damage down here. They will all be decided depending on things like the power level of the superhero you're playing. Power sets and powers, because you've got epic tier godlike characters and street fighters mixing in the same universe. And this is where I mentioned the multiplication. So if you're going to inflict damage on an opponent, for example, you have to multiply the Marvel die by whatever numbers you've got here according to your character sheet. So it does involve quite a bit of mathematical acumen, adding all the dice together, adding modifiers. You've got all of these different powers that will come with different numbers to add to things, and then you've got to multiply. It can get a bit crunchy. Plenty of rules for combat here. Rules for using theatre of the mind and on a map. Hi, Deadpool. It's a nice, simple system, especially when it comes to the low-level minions, because you just plow through them, frankly. Here's the art. The first time we played this game, one of my players saw this picture and just was obsessed with being able to do it, because there is a special power where you grab a friend and throw them at the enemy. And character data, character gaining ranks, backstories. Obviously every superhero needs to have a backstory, and the backstories here give you individual abilities and equipment, and same for tags and powers. Here we go. As you can imagine, a game like this has plenty of powers to choose from, and they're in all these different categories here. I love that you've got elemental control, illusion, magic, martial arts, and then right down here, spider powers. They've got an entire section of spider powers. I wonder who they had in mind whilst they were doing that. And there are just so many to choose from. You have a look through, see what you'd like your character to have, and put it on your sheet, and away you go. It's a very simple system to put together and allows for Hulk smash. But easily the biggest section of this book is this bit here. Just see that red section right there. These are all pre-made characters that you can just pick up out of the book and play. Cyclops, Daredevil, Deadpool, Devil Dinosaur. Magneto, Luke Cage, Malekith. Just trying to find Ms. Marvel because I can't go through this video without showing a picture of Ms. Marvel. There you go. All the stats, all the rules, all the powers, everything you need to play that particular character. And this is kind of the, both in terms of sheer page count, but also the spirit, the main focus of this book. This book wants you to play as your favourite comic book characters. Sure, there's space for you to create your own characters, but actually just pick your favourite Marvel character and play. And then you've got rules for playing in the Marvel Multiverse. Obviously, multiverses are a big thing in media at the moment. And you've got your narrator section here, which I've just flipped past. Your narrator is your games master. A good, decent explanation of things here. It keeps things simple and helps you. It's one of the better written games master sections, in my opinion. And it's got a nice, helpful power tree at the back so that you know how your powers stack up and advance. Blank character sheets, and yeah, there you have it. So then, the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game in RPG therapy. Hands down, an absolute yes from me. Hold on. For a certain client group. I mean, obviously that's the case. It's the case with every game. Some clients will like it, some won't. But here it feels like those likes and dislikes will be taken to the extremes. Like, with most games, people who like it will be about this enthusiastic about it, while people who don't like it will be about this unenthusiastic about it. Whereas here the contrast will be more like this. You know, the clients who like this game will love it. Others will be just completely uninterested no matter how hard you try to sell it. There won't be much in the way of middle ground, if I'm honest. And the simple reason for this is that this game is totally, unabashedly geared not towards gamers who happen to enjoy Marvel comics or movies, whatever, or those who are looking for a generic comic book RPG, but explicitly towards those who want to play as their favourite Marvel superhero. Yeah, sure, it has plenty of rules for powers and character creation, but nearly half the book is pre-generated characters. Most core rulebooks, if they give you any pre-gens at all, tend to give you 3 or 4. Maybe they'll give you some in a starter set or supplement, but even then you're looking at a dozen or so at most. This thing gives you 128, with more in the supplements. And we're not talking about generic examples here either. They're all known characters from the Marvel brand. If you or your client like a Marvel character, they will have a character sheet that you can use for this game. And that's clearly this game's selling points. There are plenty of superhero RPGs out there, but this is the one you turn to if you want to play Deadpool, or Ms. Marvel, or Deadpool, or Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, or Iron Fist, or Deadpool. You don't need to create a character that's like Spider-Man, because you can just play Spider-Man. Same for Iron Man, Black Widow, Hawkeye, whatever. So yeah, if your client comes to you and tells you that they really enjoy the MCU or the comics or any of the cartoons, this game is perfect. Buy it, put it on expenses, and ask them who their favourite character is. You'll have a blast. If, however, they're either unaware of that media or just aren't interested in it, look elsewhere, because you'll get very little out of this game. Sure, you could potentially use it as an introduction to those characters, which might help give them some downtime or interest between sessions, because, you know, there are so many self-care exercises that could come from this, you know, reading the comics, watching the shows and the movies, video games, tons of board games. But if the interest in this specific brand isn't there, you're onto a loser. If, for example, the client is on the DC side of the superhero Cold War, then sure, they might be up for a generic superhero game like Spectaculars or Sentinel Comics, but they would balk at the idea of playing a Marvel character because they're just not as edgy as Batman.
DC. The house that Batman built.
And of course, if superheroes aren't the client's thing at all, save your time and pick up a different genre. The other love or hate aspect of the Marvel Multiverse RPG will be the game's core mechanics. This is one that sneaks up on you as you play. On the surface, it's simple. Roll 3 dice, hope for big numbers and a marvel. But it actually gets pretty crunchy pretty quickly. Obviously, you've already got the need to add the dice together, whereas with most systems you can just tell straight away if you've rolled high enough. But you've also got to take into account things like karma, edges, and trouble. Then you have to add the pertinent modifier. And then, if you're in combat, you have to multiply your marvel die, and times that by 2 if it's a fantastic success. And yeah. And, of course, you have to keep on top of your character's powers and abilities, many of which involve adding or subtracting various stats or rolls. This system is excellent at making you feel like a superhero. All of that adding and multiplying leads to massive numbers, so you plow through enemy grunts with satisfying ease. But there's no getting away from the fact that this really isn't a game for any clients who have dyscalculia. Don't get me wrong, if you're looking to help clients develop math skills, then this is a fantastic choice. But if they really find numbers a struggle, this system could actually be quite upsetting for some of them to try to get their heads around. So bear that in mind. See what I mean about those extreme like or dislike responses? If your client loves Marvel and is happy with maths, you'll really be making your life harder if you don't get them this game. But if they aren't interested specifically in the Marvel brand or have a hard time with numbers, you'll be banging your head against a brick wall, and it's not fair on either your client or yourself. Personally, I love this game. I was suspicious of it at first, expecting a soulless cash grab written by people who know nothing about either Marvel or RPGs, but as soon as I got to embiggen as Kamala Khan, every doubt I had was dispelled. There's a lot of love in this book, and I'm champing at the bit to get hold of the upcoming supplements. Marvel, call me, you know. But what do you think? Are you excited to show the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game to your clients? How might you use it as part of an intervention? Let us know in the comments. And while you're down there, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Everyone, as usual, thank you so much for watching this video. I really look forward to speaking with you again next week. So until then, take it easy, don't do anything I wouldn't do, and have a good one. Cheers.